Last but not least, we're going to talk about the Seattle Seahawks, the winners of the division last year. They were 12-4. They finished 8th in offense, 11th in defense. Last season was a tale of two Russells. In the first half, was amazing, just dominant. The second half, Russell Wilson kind of disappeared. He was no better than Jared Goff, which is odd to say. This year, however, they have a new offense coordinator, so let's see how that turns out. This offseason, they lost Quentin Dunbar and Shaquille Griffin, both really good cornerbacks. They also lost Carlos Hyde, a running back, and KJ Wright is still a free agent. They did sign Gerald Everett from the Rams, Gabe Jackson, a guard from the Raiders, Akella Witherspoon from the Niners, and Alden Smith from the Cowboys. They drafted wide receiver in the second round, which is weird because I thought they were going to draft a lineman. Tyler, why are the Seahawks going to have a great year?
Russell Wilson, for now, is happy in Seattle. Obviously, they had the offseason drama with he wanted to be traded and all this stuff going on, but they seem to have settled that. So that's huge. Having their franchise quarterback back is going to be big. So Russell Wilson seems to be back and happy in Seattle. And, a lot of their offensive weapons, especially on the wide receiver, they got Metcalf back, Lockett's back. Chris Carson, had a lot of injuries last season, but he seems to be ready to roll. So a lot of the weapons on offense kind of seem to be back and ready to roll. So that's going to be huge for him. I think this team's going to run through their offense. They added Gabe Jackson on the O-line. I think that'll kind of help. I think they'll be a little bit better than they were last season on that side. There are a lot of questions on defense, as James, as you mentioned. They did lose a lot of defensive weapons. So, but they did add a few. So we'll kind of see how that's going to happen. The new offensive coordinator, I think, will be good for him. He came from the Rams. How high powered and how intense that offense is. I think that's going to be that's going to fit Russell Wilson perfectly. So I think that's going to be a really good change for them. So I think really it's going to come down to how good this defense can be and how much they can hold up in a really tough division. But I think this offense is going to put up points against anyone. I think they're going to be very good. Russell Wilson is going to lead that team, and they're definitely going to be competitive, and they're going to make this division very, very tight.
Eric, why are the Seahawks going to suck?
Because every year there's always hope and there's always faith with this team. You hear Russell Wilson, this guy could be the MVP this year. You hear that for like the first 5 weeks. Then you end up seeing Russell Wilson just draining and tiring out because he literally is the one-man team there. Their O-line isn't good enough. We saw that last year. They didn't really do anything to make changes for that. And that leads to problems all over. We pointed this out on episode 1. The O-line is important in football. Mike Brown, I remember that was his big talking point when he talked with us about it. But looking at their schedule, at Colts is their first game with a brand new rejuvenated Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz did horrible last year on the Eagles, and I think this is like his biggest game to prove himself. And I think we're going to see Carson Wentz somehow, some way, and the Colts pull off a win over the Seahawks week 1. This is going to send them in a downward spiral because then week 2 they have the Titans at home. Derrick Henry's going to run it down their throat. They traded all these defensive players away, as you pointed out, James. They got the Vikings on the road after that. That's a possible win for them. So at this point, they're 1-2. Then they got the Niners. They're not winning that game. Then they got the Rams. They're not winning that game. Then they're at the Steelers. They're not winning that game. So they go 1-5 in their first 6 games. Heavy workload for them to handle, and they're not going to do good. And that's why.
Oh. Wow. Okay. What's the record going to be?
They're going to be 7-10.
Tyler, what's the record going to be? Sorry, trade and go.
That was an incredible, that was one of Eric's best answers of his life. I
think so too.
That was amazing.
Proud of you, buddy. Tyler.
I'll go in reverse. Eric, they go 10-7.
Okay, I'm going 8-9. This defense is so bad. They're not cracking the top 25 defensively. Bobby Wagner is the only defensive guy you have now. The offense is going to be good, but it can't overcome the defense's struggles. And so that's why they go 8-9. Trayden, what do you think?
7-10.
And Alex.
Because Eric's answer was so fucking amazing.
Even better. What do you think, Alex?
I've got them going 9-8. I'd still think that offense will be good enough to win them some games. But yeah, the defense, that's what we saw last year. The defense was shit at the beginning, and then it turned it around. And then, I don't know, 9-8. They feel like a 500-ish team to me.
Okay. Moving on to fantasy, we got Russell Wilson. Finished as QB6 last season. ADP is in the 6th round at 63. Does he finish as a top 5 QB this season? Currently is going before Justin Herbert and Aaron Rodgers.
I think he could easily be a top 5 quarterback. As I mentioned earlier with the new offensive coordinator, I think this offense is going to be high-powered, and I think Russell Wilson's going to fit real nicely in there. He's going to put up a lot of points for fantasy owners.
I agree with you, man. That defense is going to be so bad, they're going to have to score a lot. Chris Carson, ADP is 45. He has never had a full season in the NFL. He's always been injured.
Oh my God.
But the fact of the matter is, like, he puts up points because it was a run-first offense. But now there's a new offensive coordinator. So does that worry you? Will you still draft Chris Carson in the 4th round, or are you going to wait a little bit longer because that change of style and play?
Chris Carson is a high-risk, high-reward kind of pick. So I don't know if I would draft him quite that early. As you said, with the new offense coordinator, things might change for him. He has increased his receiving points over the course of his career, and that might be something that gets him a lot of points. But as you mentioned, injuries are a big concern. I think he missed 5 or 6 games last season. He's just constantly on the injury list. So he's a high risk, high reward. He could potentially put up a lot of points if he's in. So maybe he's a good solid flex option for you, but I wouldn't draft him too high.
Last but not least, we'll talk about wide receivers. And this is super interesting to me. But DK Metcalf finished as wide receiver 7 last season. Tyler Lockett finished as wide receiver 8. They were separated by a mere couple of points. But drafting-wise, DK Metcalf is going at 19, while Tyler Lockett is going at 57. So they finished points away last season, but the difference in picks is astonishing. It's almost 40 picks away. So, Tyler, would you rather have DK Metcalf at the bottom of the 1st or the 2nd round, or would you have Tyler Lockett in the 6th?
I'm going to go DK Metcalf. He was on my team last year. He did wonders for me. I think him and Wilson have a good thing going. But you're right. I think that is quite a large separation for 2 guys that went neck and neck all season. I think Wilson's going to split the difference quite a bit. But I think Metcalf just has slightly more. I think Wilson favors Metcalf just a little bit more. So I'm going to go Metcalf.
All right. I like it.